show. Met that NFG line pretty freaking close for YouTube standards last night, I tell you that much. Woo. Hollywood Marine coming in, dropping 10 high. Let you guys know we got Nate standing by, supposedly he's gonna be here. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Welcome on back for another episode of Speak the Truth. I promise this morning I'm going to behave. I really will. I swear to you, I'm going to behave. It's going to be a lovely day. Do you know why? Because Israel woke up this morning and chose violence. They chose violence in the best of the best ways over here at the Sanaa International Airport. Now, I'm going to zoom in on this location so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about and where those airstrikes were taking place yesterday. Here we have Sanaa, and this happens to be the airport. We got some overheads where you guys are going to be coming up that are going to show you exactly what Israel intended on targeting, but that is the particular airfield, which we're going to take a look at here in just a minute. Got a lot of videos. Apparently, Yemen has really good reception right now with just shit blowing up everywhere, so that's good to know. We get out of Sanaa and we start zooming out over here, and you can go up over towards Al-Hadiya, and this is where we ended up having those strikes yesterday taking place over on the Al-Hadiya port. There were some reports about it taking place over here at the Houthi International Airport. It looks like those reports were false. They ended up hitting the port itself and the cement factory. And today, they're over there bombing the living hell out of the airport. Now, all of this comes in response to this, the attack on the Ben Gurion Airport. What the hell was that? Was that yesterday? Yeah. Pretty much yesterday, that sucker ended up coming in and splashing down about 350 meters outside of the airport, and people are calling this a major failure. If you guys need me to turn the volume up, don't worry. I got you. I can turn up the volume. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. We got you there. We can turn up some output volume for you. Don't you worry. I can crank that sucker up for you. Yeah, that's what they're do. Let me get that cranked up a little bit for you guys right there. There you go. I just added up another 6 decibels, so hopefully that helps you. Okay, so yeah, this is in response to the ballistic missile attack that ended up taking place. I don't think we need to really get into that. I saw somebody talking on I want to say it was Fox News, which take that for what it's worth, that this strike that I'm putting up on your screen over here, this is the Ben Gurion Airport, that this strike was the result of, how do I want to say this? I don't want to say this. This strike was the result of, they're saying possibly a Russian supplied munition that allowed it to go through like that. Colin says, let's get a little bit more consistent with the audio. You've been doing this for too long to be having issues every time. Yes, Colin, I am well aware. Thank you very much, sir. You know, because it doesn't annoy the shit out of me on a daily basis. I really needed your comment to come in here this morning and remind me of how fucking annoying it is every single time my audio's off. So I really appreciate that, Dr. Obvious. Appreciate you. All right, so here we have the Ben Gurion Airport that ended up getting hit the other day. This is a strike coming in on it. And like I said, I ended up seeing, oh, shush you. I ended up seeing a news report saying that this was possibly a Russian supplied munition that ended up coming down and smashing into it. They don't really know. I do have statements from the former IDF spokesperson as to what he feels ended up happening over there. Look, regardless, Israel ended up coming in and putting out a warning earlier this morning on that airport over inside of Yemen, and basically telling them to get out of there or they're going to end up getting hurt. So they warned them. They said GTFO.
إلى المتواجدين في منطقة مطار صنعاء الدولي وفق ما يعرض في الخارطة المرفقة. استمعوا إلى هذا البيان العاجل.
I don't speak squiggly, but he does. And allegedly what he is saying is get the heck out of Dodge or you might get hurt. Allegedly, that's what he's saying. Get the heck out of Dodge or you might get hurt. So let's get back over to the strike videos and see what actually took place. This is what Israel put out and said this was their intended targets over there at the airport. Let's get those up on the screen for you guys. Here we go. Strikes on terrorist infrastructure of the Houthi terror regime on the Yemeni coast. There is from yesterday. And on the concrete plant in Yemen. Excuse me. I, for some reason, thought those were the airport. I was going that quick this morning. All right. So allegedly that these strikes ended up saying that they ended up coming to a complete standstill. So let's just go ahead and get this video up on the screen and show you what it looks like having these strikes come raining down on the airport.
هذا لقد تم ضرب المصنع عمران. يا لطيف يا لطيف.
Okay, so a bunch of people whining, complaining, a lot of smoke coming in. Let's go and check out some of these bombs coming in. Oh, hey, shh. I didn't tell you to start talking yet.
حابي حضورك بعد البترول والديزل حق الماضي وتقرح في ناس
You know, if this was in Gaza, they would have those suckers set up on like tripods already, like waiting for those strikes to come in and freaking like hit. But unfortunately, it's not. Here we go. Now we got some coming in. Boom. Distance. Look at the airport over there. Oh. For those wondering if the video got pulled from last night, no, I pulled it down because what ends up happening is after you finish your live stream, it takes the audio and it starts processing it, and that's when YouTube decides whether you've been naughty or nice. So I pulled the video before they went through the naughty or nice stage, just to keep myself safe, throwing that one out there. So I didn't want the processing to take place, so I ended up ripping it down just because of where it was at. We can't hear you talk whenever the video is playing. Okay, cool. Let me take that and make sure that that is actually, you know what I ended up doing? I know exactly what I did. I turned that off. That was my mistake. So let me make sure that that is actually set up appropriately. I don't want that on. Let me turn that off. All right, I'll fix that here on the next one.
مطار صنعاء الدولي. مطار صنعاء الدولي.
There we go. Now you guys should be nice and fixed over there. You should be able to hear me a little bit better every single time that stuff plays. Okay, let's get this sucker rolling again and keep some of these videos playing. Here's some good ones. This is a video of the airfield itself. You're going to see some destroyed aircraft and things like that that are down on the scene. Leave your volume alone. Let the mic match it. Do all sorts of other things. No, I got to put a limiter on because of the way this setup actually is, ladies and gentlemen. So everybody calm down. It's just kind of how it goes. I got to have it at a certain level in order to make sure that you guys can hear it and everything else. Different things coming in different places. So I got to bump it up, and then I also got to bump it right back down to make sure it stays nice and even so that you guys don't get freaking blown out every single time. So that's how that works. Anyways, check out these airplanes. Ended up getting destroyed over on the airfield. There's some pretty good freaking images coming out of there of all these suckers getting blown up. Alleyway Jean, good morning, ma'am. Good morning to a happier Matt, and bless you too, ma'am. Bless you. I just love seeing some freaking crap destroyed over inside of Yemen. Unfortunately, that looks like a civilian jet. But that's kind of what ends up happening when you play with fire. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Oh, no, Yemeni Air Force. But, you know, it's an old Yemeni Air Force plane. I was screwing around over on Google Maps yesterday, and I was checking out. Yemen has planes. Yeah, you want to see something wild? Yemen actually does have planes. Check this out. So I was doing this yesterday over at, obviously, you know, we bombed the freaking ports yesterday. You want to see some planes over inside Yemen? They got old school MiGs. Actually, so if you go over to the airport outside of the Houthi International Airport and you scroll in, you can actually see some of their old MiGs on the ground that are still down there. They're totally decommissioned, as you can see here. Like, they don't work. Interesting thing about it, though, when you go over and you actually start checking out, like, this old airport, if you come out and you come in, this is just part of the weird stuff that I do on a daily basis. You can see where this place has already been bombed to crap, like, multiple times in the past. And I'm not sure, you know, the imagery on this map has been updated since 2025, so I'm not sure if this is work of the United States military or what. Oh, my God, I hate everybody. You guys all, like every single person, just a bunch of freaking whiners in the chat. I love every single one of you so much. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. Okay. So here you go. Now you're at where it's going to be. That's where it's going. All right. Let's get back up over to some of these videos on everything that ended up coming out. Oh, there it is. I knew I had the freaking imagery of that stupid airport. Yep, there's the warning that they ended up telling to the Yemeni people, get the hell out of the airport. The entire thing is a freaking target. So there you go. All right, videos of shit blown up. Let's do it. And go.
Allahu Akbar.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
هذيك نار.
Does it sound like that dude saying Allah Akbar over a loudspeaker? Whoever said Google Map images are literally from today, that's not necessarily true. Yeah, screw that airport. Here's a nice still photograph of what appears to be a bomb taking place. I saw some reports saying that we targeted some of their energy infrastructure over there, but no defined word yet on whether that's true. Matt, what do you think about the Palestine 2 missile Chinese technology? Gary, I'm going to have to read into that one for you, brother. Yeah, I think Allah does not help them out in this instance. It definitely doesn't appear to be that way. Let me get this next bit up on the screen for you guys as it's coming through.
حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل من أراد دمار البلد هذا لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله دمر ومصنع سمين عمره لا إله إلا الله بس يا قهر قلبي يا قهر قلبي يا قهر قلبي حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل يا رب قرينا فيهم عجائب قدرته زي ما بيفعلوا بالبلاد هكذا على كل ظالم من داخل البلاد ومن خارج البلاد مصنع سمنت عمر لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله إن الله ضربتي يا قهري على من مات حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
So I saw some of you guys asked why did they warn them? Well, this is why, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get this up on the screen. Because international law does dictate and say that we do have to take, some precautions or whatever when we end up warning people before we end up going and doing it. This is an actual civilian airport that they have set up over there. Probably not the best. I'd bet if you go over there, there's some holes in the ground and things like that for you to frickin' pee in and poop in. But other than that, I mean, you got like a nice floor. Do I think that, how do I want to say this? Do I think that they needed to warn them? Yes. I think they needed to put out a warning in case there was other aircraft that they were unaware of that may have been going in there. I think they needed to warn them in case that there was, flight crews and things like that on the ground. It's an actual airport. I can only imagine them having like a flight a day or 2 flights a day max going in there. But that's why they ended up doing it. Alleyway June, what I thought, thoughts on the email yet? I'll give you those thoughts here in a little bit. Allie, I will email you back. All right. Let me get this sucker back up and moving. Breaking it up here, Sanaa International Airport has been completely destroyed, is what everybody seems to think. I don't think it has been completely destroyed. To me, it looks like maybe they ended up taking out a couple key targets over there because all of these different still images that I'm seeing around the airport it seems to me like there is specific parts of the airport that they were particularly targeting, and I'm going to go over and I'm going to check to see if we got an update from the IDF right now, if they ended up putting that out. So give me 1 sec. Let me go see if they put out any new updates since we've been going along. No, it does not. They have not put out anything new as of yet. 43 minutes ago, they ended up saying, so this happened right before I sat down at the computer. They said IDF fighter jets struck and dismantled Houthi terrorist infrastructure at the main airport in Sanaa. The strike was carried out in response to the attack launched by the Houthi terrorist regime against Ben Gurion Airport. The airport served as a central hub for the Houthi terrorist regime to transport weapons and operatives, clearly underscoring the Houthi terrorist regime's brutal exploitation of civilian infrastructure. Further, several central power plants were struck. I was right. There was reports of those power plants getting hit, but I didn't see it. Israel is now claiming that they ended up striking power plants and surrounding the Sanaa area. These plants were exploited by the Houthi regime for energy infrastructure and for the construction of underground tunnels. The strikes were carried out with precision and steps were taken to mitigate harm to civilians and infrastructure. The IDF is determined to continue operating at any distance against all threats to civilians or to the citizens of the state of Israel. So good on them for taking care of that. Close-up footage of the planes burning. It looks like, oh, nope, that was somebody that tagged me in something else. Let me see what else we got coming up over here. I love it when you guys end up tagging me in like some of this breaking stuff that ends up coming out. Oh, man. Nope, don't care. Oh, wait a minute. That was a good one. What you got there for me, bud? It says, Houthis' official television station compromises a collage of footage showing the Israeli airstrikes. Oh, no shit. Let's check that out. Allegedly, this is from the Houthis' television station. Love it when you guys tag me in random stuff over on X and help out when we have breaking things like this that are just coming out. Really does help out the show, and we're able to get a lot more freaking footage up on the screen because I'm able to click through it and I know exactly what it is. And it's like I got 1,000 of you guys out there that are helping me pull info to put on the channel. One of the things that I love that we do over here that kind of loves the community. Anthony, amazing comment. Amazing comment down in the freaking chat. Says Matt, he says, hi Matt, you've been a big part of my life today, or my life through Y addiction and recovery. 1.5 years clean today. Keep up the good work. Everybody needs to give Anthony a freaking round of applause. That is huge news, man. 1.5 years sober, man. That is freaking hard. Anybody that's never dealt with addiction before and doesn't know how extremely difficult that is, that within itself deserves a heck of a lot of praise down in the comment section.
مطار صنعاء الدولي بلاستيك يا أمريكا بلاستيك مع غزة لو بنروح قطع.
Of course they blame America. Nice. Get away, get away. That's one of those things I look at. Every time I see the smoke plumes, I always wonder what exactly it is that's causing those smoke plumes, because sometimes it looks like bigger than it really is. Right here, it looks to be like a fuel truck or something like that that ended up catching fire or whatever. Got the crap skidded across the ground over there. Let's go back, see what else you guys ended up throwing me up on over here on X. Ooh. Oh, I love it. This is a good one. All right, let's get that one up. Boom. What's crazy about that video is there's a guy just hanging out at the airport that was like, yeah, I mean, they told us to get out of here, but I mean, where am I going to go? They're just going to bomb me anywhere. So yeah, let it happen. That's a good one. That's like I believe that might be a partial from the video that I showed earlier, or maybe just different portions of it, but that is one hell of a freaking boom on that freaking jet. Amazing to me that the Houthis actually still operate things like that. Always freaking blows my mind. This is the one. Oh, yep, that's the one that I ended up showing. Yeah, this is the full video of that, I think, that I ended up just having up on the screen. Let's see if there's additional footage that goes into it. A little bit more. You guys are the best when you guys end up bringing this stuff up. Yeah, so I mean, predictions for what's going to end up happening. I think the Houthis are going to try to fire back at Israel. The question is whether or not they have additional munitions that have been supplied to them by Russia. I know I was talking to you guys a little bit about, to me, it seemed a bit much to have that many drones that were completely and totally intact on the ground over inside of Yemen. And there was only a couple countries I was aware of that actually did that. I'm talking about the US Reaper drones. And I kind of hypothesized, I'm like, why is it that these Reaper drones are going down over there? And then I saw an Air Force pilot on Fox News that was talking about a possible Russian supplied ballistic missile that would be able to make it past US and Israeli defense systems. So kind of odd. That's true. Whoa, it's a good one.
Oh ya Allah, oh ya Allah. Ooh.
Yeah, and these videos that you guys are currently seeing up on your screen, these are all ones that you guys took and tagged me up over on X that you guys found that you wanted to be shown up over on the channel. So I appreciate it every single time you guys do that type of stuff. It really does help the channel out. If you guys have an X account and you're looking for this type of stuff and you want to share it, you can see my X account down there in the bottom right corner of your screen. Go ahead and freaking get over there and start tagging me and stuff. That way I can get up on the screen for you guys. I'm currently going through the videos that you guys have thrown me in because some of them are like pretty damn good. Ones that I have not even seen. You guys are coming across these. And if you guys want me to give you a shout out for these videos, just put Anchor tab shout out for the video find, and I'll make sure that you guys get a shout out for that. Global News UK. Good to see you in the house tonight, buddy. All right, let's see what this one is. Somebody tagged me in another one. Yeah, this is the same video, but it's not as zoomed in. Mossad commentary coming in. Yeah, buddy. So kind of waiting for the battle damage assessment as well to get put out by Israel on some of these. Ooh, that's a good one right there. Oh, that's a good one. Love me that one. That's a good one. Ready for this one? Guys, like, I'm getting out of here. Yeah, that's a lot of freaking fire for one little tiny thing. To me, this seems like a fuel, like they hit a fuel cell or something. This might be from yesterday, potentially. Maybe I'm wrong. A lot of black smoke on that one. Like, normally you get gray smoke and crap like that coming off these airstrikes when they end up burning in, and there's not a lot of other, like, fuels that are on the ground. Whenever I see, like, all of this black smoke, it's telling me that it ended up hitting, like, yeah, there we go, black smoke, lots of fire. Yeah, it ends up telling me that it's, like, some sort of a fuel cell or something that had a buttload of fuel in it. So that's really cool. Appreciate that. Who was it that tagged me in that? Cycle King ended up going and tagging me in that one. Appreciate you, man. You guys are great when it comes down to finding this type of stuff. See, we got, oh, what the hell? Holy crap. This is a good view. This one is actually out from the Ben Gurion airport, I believe, over inside Israel. Yes, that is correct. Just to give you guys an idea of the size of the crater that ballistic missile left over outside that airport yesterday. That's freaking huge. In order to create a freaking hole of that size, that is a massive freaking charge that ended up slamming into that sucker in order to create that. If that would have hit the airport, dude, that'd have been catastrophic. If that would have ended up smashing into the freaking airport. That's a picture that I actually haven't seen, and I really appreciate you tagging me in that one, because that just shows you the threat that exists. A lot of people think, I don't know, that for some reason, and again, that was a Polish drunk that ended up putting me in that one. A lot of people, for some reason, think that you know, these guys are over there with pitchforks and stuff. That's not the case. They're state sponsored, so they have a lot of like special munitions and crap that most people are unaware of. And when those munitions end up hitting because they end up getting them to them, it's kind of a big deal. Yeah. Oh, good God. Uh-oh. 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 It looks like the Leibelsberger case is getting back in there. People are coming after that one again. All right, another video coming at you.
مطار صنعاء الدولي.
Looks like Nate is a little unresponsive this morning, and that's okay. I'm going to get up over into the Discord and see what some of you guys have to say about this. Oh, Walter. Oh, that's good. I can't put that on the screen. Let me see what else we got in here. Oh, good. Oh, my goodness. I totally forgot about that. Alleyway, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I am going to send you a long response. Alleyway June, I know you're in there. Concrete factory getting freaking smashed yesterday. This is from yesterday's airstrike. I have not seen this video. This is the concrete factory that got smashed yesterday. Holy crap. That's not concrete.
ضرب مصنع اسمنت حمراء عيال الحرام ضربوا مصنع اسمنت حمراء لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله الله يستر ويلطف لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله والله إني كارثة بمعنى الكلمة.
That's one hell of a strike. So I was really curious because I saw a lot of the different reports. I saw a lot of that. We're going to let this one run through again while I talk about this. I was really curious because I saw somebody put it down in the chat, and I never verified the actual number that the U.S. military has said that they have lost when it comes to the Reaper drones over inside of Yemen. So I'm doing some quick research right now to kind of like double check on that because there is quite a few of them. But the Houthis have claimed quite a bit, and I know some of the ones that the Houthis claimed have been like repurposed footage from different angles and things. I've caught them doing that a couple different times, and so I don't know if that 26 figure is truly accurate. So we're going to check on that as we continue to scroll through this different combat footage. Snackbar is closed, yeah, and that cement factory, all of that stuff took place over by the port, and these are all in fairly close proximity to each other. So that is where all those are coming from. Let's see here. We got another tag. Oh yeah, that one we ended up just putting up there a little bit ago. So here's another video of that airfield, just getting freaking wrecked, over inside of Yemen. So good job to the Israeli Air Force. And I'd like to remind everybody that Yemen is further away than Iran is. We're all kind of waiting for Iran to do something. Part of me is starting to think that the Israelis or the Americans might be trying to provoke Iran into an attack. But with the news yesterday coming out that Israel is activating, I think it was like 40,000 reserve, up to 60,000, something of that nature, reserve troops for this fight going on over inside of Gaza. I think that within itself is going to end up, like as soon as they end up launching that sucker, the actual clearing operations over inside Gaza, I think that within itself is going to end up provoking that attack. John Spencer actually did a very good breakdown of what is to come over inside. Let me actually go over and grab that. He sent it to me yesterday. I read over it and I was like, dang, dude, you freaking did a bang up job. John Spencer is a really good dude. Really, really big fan of some of the analysis and things like that he does. So let me grab this for you guys because I just want to show this to you. There's no point in me redoing something that was done so well, and I definitely have to give John credit for this. because the way he wrote this, I think, is freaking well done. And if you guys aren't following John over on Twitter, you probably should. He actually drops articles and things like this from time to time. He talks about Operation Gideon's Chariot, Israel's next phase inside Gaza, and he breaks it down very well on like the different phases and how this operation is going to end up looking. I know a lot of you guys are kind of concerned about that. I'm going to let the news feed breathe for a sec while I go over this. And kind of talk to you guys about it. So Israel's aims have not changed since October 7th. They have securing the release of the hostages, dismantling Hamas, and ensuring no threat can be reemerge from Gaza. He goes in and talking about the operation and how it's going to end up being structured and where it's going to go. And it pretty much aligns with exactly what I've talked about. One is IDF forces shaping the battle space, isolate Hamas, and allow time for hostage negotiations. That is the phase that we have been sitting in for quite some time now, waiting on the IDF to get in there. We saw Rafah get cut off. We saw IDF troops move into northern Gaza. We saw all of the different, what I would call like human slash, shaping operations and things like that were taking place. I guess not human. How would you describe that? Like psychological operations going in there to start winning over some of the population. Phase 2 is what's about to come up, and this is the clear and hold phase, which is absolutely correct. Methodical clearing of Hamas presence and capabilities area by area, with Israeli forces maintaining control and preventing reinfiltration. Now, that part is very key, which goes into why they have established all of those different camps, or what appear to be all those different camps down over in Rafah, in order to start taking care of them. So let's see here. Answer, as far as the United States military is concerned, and I just want to touch back on this because I said I would, over on Yemen, I've got the final answer for the number of Reaper drones, so I'll get over to that in a sec. So that clear and hold phase is going to be important because they're going to end up pushing everybody down into Rafah, or so it would seem, where they're going to hold onto them, clear them, and then work to fly them out. Allegedly, they're all going to get flown up over into Syria in order to get into a lot of those different refugee camps that are already set up over there, which I don't know how well that's going to work out because HTS is running around murdering a shit ton of people right now. The amount of freaking genocide videos I've seen lately is absolutely disgusting. I actually stopped looking into it yesterday because it was just grossing me out. Then lastly, you have the build, governance, stabilization, and the cultivation of local alternatives to Hamas to begin laying the foundation for post-conflict order. This actually, in my opinion, when it goes to cultivation of local alternatives, I think all of this has actually already started over inside of Gaza, and all of that's intertwined into the uprisings and things like that they're having taking place over there. Civilians will be temporarily evacuated from combat zones in northern and central Gaza to humanitarian safe zones in the south that have been recently cleared. He goes over a couple different things. He talks about the different variations to the approach. This is very, very well written. I highly suggest you guys go and look over all of this crap because, John is a very smart man when it comes to this type of stuff. And I think he did a very good job. More importantly, all the way down here at the bottom, it's something that I didn't cover yesterday, which I probably should have, is that the UN basically refused to help out with the delivery of humanitarian aid because they're not big fans of how Israel is going about conducting this clearing operation and what they're going to be doing in the future. A little bit freaking upsetting the way they went about doing it. Let me get this up over here and make sure that I haven't missed anything. House of Karma ended up coming in, gifting out 10 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you, brother, for coming in there and dropping those. Appreciate it. All right, let's get back over to our feed. Let's see what else is populated because there is a lot of brand new tags from you guys. Let me get this one up on the screen. Ooh, what the heck is going on here? Oh, come on, man. Can I play that? I don't know. Yeah, it looks like I can. I don't know what I'm looking at. You know what? I can play that. Oh my God. I got to make sure this dude doesn't get smoked real quick and then I'll play it. Oh yeah, we're good. Holy freaking crap. This, I don't even know where. Oh my God. Little guy probably taking a dump that gets lit up by freaking machine gun fire, just running for his life. Taken off. I have no idea where this is at. I can't see the original post that goes into it. It's not my birthday, man. This guy's just getting lit up by freaking gunfire. Oh my God. Just getting it. Look at him running. At first I was like, wow, this guy's gonna get freaking schwacked. He ends up not getting hit at all. Like that guy has don't want to say the most luck, but to be perfectly honest with you, what these videos actually really do a good job of showing is the beaten zone of a freaking machine gun, and how it's not. A lot of people think machine guns, I don't know, are pretty much like laser beams and they're going to go through. They're not. There's a lot of inaccuracy that's actually built into them, and when you start getting out at a greater distance, if your machine gunner is not holding onto that sucker properly, you're going to get this really big beaten zone over towards your target, where you're going to see all of those rounds randomly impacting in several different places. Now, obviously, this gentleman has several people that are shooting at him, not just a machine gun, but yeah, that's kind of how that works. Yeah, that's a freaking good video, man. Appreciate you, Nathan Bates, for sending that in and making sure that I could actually put it up on the screen. Yeah. Yep. All right, here's another video of Sanaa currently. Let me get this up for you guys. And this one came from Hijaz Death Cult. Don't even know Hijaz Death Cult. Appreciate you. Look at that. Look at that one. That's a good one. That is nothing but freaking fire. Okay, so I think it's fair to say that the Sanaa airport, I don't want to say it's been leveled, but it's probably not doing very good. I'm going to go in the Discord chat, and I'm going to bring up some of you guys. Hopefully Nate's in the house. I wanted to get Nate's opinion because he ended up sending me some other stuff on Ukraine last night, showing that more gifts basically got sent Russia's way, which is always a good thing. So Russia ended up getting lit up. Banshee, I see you're already in here, which is just lovely to see Banshee in here every single time I drop. It's like Banshee just waits in there for me to jump in. Let me get this sucker going over here, make sure my cam can turn on. There we go, and restart that. Boom, now you guys can see me. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you guys can come up, if you got anything that you want to say, anything you guys want to talk about, let me know. You're more than welcome to come in here. Let's see here. Another video up on the screen coming at you. Looks like open source intel is reporting Saudi reports that says Israeli strikes in Yemen also targeted weapons depots in Jabal Faj Atan. Jabal Faj Atan. So thanks, Polish Drunk, for putting that out there. That doesn't surprise me at all. The Hajaz is the area the Arabs come from. Oh, well, there you go. Oh, now I know. At least we got that. Ooh, this is kind of cool. I have no idea what freaking country that's from, but you guys allegedly just wanted me to share that. So here you go. You guys get that one coming at you. It's pretty freaking baller video, to be honest. It's like Top Gun freaking training. Dudes just freaking getting it. You got to give it to the fighter pilots, man. Those dudes do some wild crap. Dudes and gals end up doing some wild, wild stuff. Nobody wanting to come up and talk today. That freaking blows my mind. Normally I get a bunch of requests for you guys to come up here and see what's going on around the world. UK yesterday, I was going over it, talked about it. You did have a terror plot that ended up getting thwarted over inside of the UK. It ended up coming out of Iran. They're blaming it on the IRGC, claiming that the IRGC is the main culprit behind all of this freaking garbage. And real quick, while we're waiting on all of this, I actually want to bring this up. Let me get this up on the screen so that you guys can hear it.
Democracy's Jonathan Conricus. Jonathan, always great to have you on the show. This ballistic missile nearly hit the airport outside Tel Aviv. How did it get through the Iron Dome?
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, for having me on. Always a pleasure. What the findings of the investigation by the Israeli Air Force indicate is that it was an interceptor failure. Actually, two different types of interceptors failed to intercept it, both the American THAAD and the Israeli long-range missile, which is unusual, and I think it is very dangerous for Israel to have its only international airport bombarded. We can already see that sadly, most international airlines have suspended flights, some of them until the end of this week and some of them indefinitely. That is significant economic damage to the state of Israel, and it really complicates things. And that brings me to, the Israeli response. When we look at what Israel did, and we understand what has been struck in Yemen, it's relatively soft. It is a very limited response. I would say that it's more blowing off steam than really making a meaningful impact on the Houthi military capabilities. And to be honest, I am not sure that anything that Israel is prepared to do when it comes to the Houthis will have a meaningful effect.
What is this, Jonathan? The U.S. has been bombing the Houthis for weeks now. the Israelis just bombed the Houthis. Obviously, you said it was not the most aggressive
Relatively
of efforts.
limited, yeah.
The point is why is it so difficult to stop this terrorist group, to get this terrorist group?
Well, this group is entrenched in the rural areas and the mountainside of various parts of Yemen. They have almost infinite lines of supply from the Islamic regime of Iran, and they are not burdened too much by the humanitarian situation in Yemen, and they couldn't care about the consequences for the civilian population. So they are a difficult enemy to defeat. They're also motivated by an
All right, let's go ahead and close that out. We should have you guys back up over in the Discord now. I heard a lot of people ended up jumping in there, and we got Banshee and Ross and everyone to come in. I'm going to pull up Banshee first. Texas, good morning, sir. How are you? Texas, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while, and I heard that Ukraine has been watching.
We don't have any audio in Discord. That's...
You guys don't have any audio in the Discord? Yeah, there's no audio.
Can you hear me, Banshee?
Yeah, I hear you, brother.
Yeah.
Weird.
Matt is not in here. I can't hear him or see him.
Weird. You guys can't hear or see me. I might have to close myself out and bring back in. Let me check my mic and make sure my mic is on the right one. Input device is correct and everything else is correct for you guys. Output correct. Input correct. I'm sorry that you guys can't hear me over inside of the Discord. That's really frustrating.
I've got YouTube open. It's the only reason I can kind of hear both parts.
I might have to... Did that work? Can you guys hear me now? It shows me as green every time I talk. Can you guys hear me in the Discord now? Let me close it out and come back in.
No.
Okay, I'm going to close it out and come back in. That freaking... yeah, those of you guys that are wondering what's going on, Windows is having freaking issues when it comes to interacting and interfacing with all this stuff. I'm not making any adjustments.
There's a little delay on the YouTube, so that's part of what's hard.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
There it is.
Okay, good. So it was just, I mean, just technical difficulties coming in and out. So when all else fails, close it and come back in. Texas, how you doing over there, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing just amazing. It's been like, been good couple of weeks. How you been? I know I've been AFK. I've been listening a lot, but I was on the road and I've been in the brain.
Well, I've seen that Ukraine has kept themselves pretty busy when it comes to launching freaking different drone attacks on Russia, as I currently have put up on the screen up over there. Those came courtesy of Nate, ended up sending me that graphic yesterday. I've seen a shit ton of attacks on Crimea, like down in the south, and now it looks like they focused more like north by northeast, going up over into Russia, which is pretty freaking cool. So.
Yeah, very, very accurate. I actually have that same thing. I saw that the other day. Very accurate, pretty much what's been happening. Front line, there was a little breakthrough on the Russian side. They pushed through a little bit towards some of the first line of defense of the Ukrainian trenches, but that was quite fast because they did it small unit, not with armor, and then that was quite fast shut down. Obviously they didn't have reinforcements to do anything, so once it was shut down, it was shut down. But other than that, it's just been a bunch of, but the same, like we can't keep forgetting, yes, Ukraine has been smacking the teeth out of the Russian military industry and like anything that generates money, but we can't forget that Russia's been smacking Ukraine too, like
right,
pretty. Like we've been getting hammered. Kharkiv has been getting hammered. Kyiv has been getting hammered, and it's not military targets. Those are just apartment buildings. So,
yeah. Can you see what I have up on the screen over there?
I can see what you have up on the screen.
Yeah, that is, dude. Yeah, that's the Sanaa airport getting freaking bombed. It kind of makes me wonder how much time, like an advance warning, Israel ended up giving them before they ended up dropping all those freaking bombs. I don't think it was very much, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think there's a minimum hour amount that they have to do, like the NOSEM, the notice of airspace. Yeah, I think so. because it involves an international airport.
But is it? Because if it's used for terror infrastructure,
I'm not a lawyer. I'm especially not like an international conflict lawyer. But I would tell you that if I was Israel and I was running the show there, I would give them a notice. I think Nate is in.
Oh, beautiful.
Is that Nate?
Pop in. Before he takes over, I just wanted to ask Texas and Matt what you think about the rare earth deal going through, since Putin wouldn't come to a reasonable middle ground.
The rare earth deal coming through because Putin wouldn't come to a reasonable middle ground.
Yeah,
just so people are tracking, I'm being told that the video I have up on the screen is from 2015. That's what people are saying down in the chat. I don't know. That's kind of one of those things. So what do I think about that rare earth mineral deal? I think it's exactly what I had talked about the whole time, that because I think we all knew, everybody with common sense knew, that Putin wasn't going to have some sort of a reasonable outcome to this thing. Like, he was not going to give up any land. It's not whether or not, well, one, Zelensky is not going to, but two, Putin's not going to. And I think that a lot of that had to do with stalling tactics when it goes down to negotiations for some of this Middle East stuff to kind of start wearing off, or to kind of like cool off, to let that breathe. That way we're justifiable when it comes to doing everything. So I think that rare earth deal is not a bad thing. It's going to help rebuild Ukraine. I think Ukraine's actually getting a lot of funding as well once this Red Sea thing reopens. I think you're going to see a lot more money pouring in from the EU on top of everything else. So that's what I got. Texas?
Yeah, I would just Control-C, Control-V what you said. I think people just need to stop jumping to conclusions and be patient. And this thing was always going to happen. It's not something that happens overnight. The president of Ukraine doesn't sign such a deal. There's obviously a parliament of government, and it takes more than just, oh yeah, come here, let's sign the soil in the ground. It doesn't work like that. So it was always going to happen. It was always going to go back and forth until there's a fine line where both sides met on that deal. And I think that the more interesting story that we should talk about is not that. We should talk about the fact that I was told that apparently the pause on aid that was paused to Ukraine what was it, 6 weeks ago or so, 2 months ago, for about a week, apparently wasn't paused by the White House. It was paused. It came from Secretary Hexet's office in the Pentagon, and apparently the White House was kind of like baffled by it, and they put an end to it real quick after a week of it. Does he have the
authority to do that?
I don't know, and this is something that came out today. There's like article. I'll try to find it and send it over to you, because I was reading it and I don't think I clicked bookmark on it.
Nate, did you hear
but I'll
about
find
that?
it, and
I'm going to search for it right now. Nate, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, did you hear about the aid being paused by Hexet?
No.
Or Hexet's office.
Or the second?
No. I mean, so the thing about that, the aid is, those aid packages are approved and they're law. They're signed into law.
Right. I didn't think he had the authority.
So the only person that I think potentially could have the authority to stop it for any period of time would be the president, and that's only for like, I think 90 days, and that's for like security reasons. I think
it was a Reuters article. If you want to look, I think it was a Reuters article.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. Go ahead, Nate.
No, I was just going to say, if it was Reuters, I guarantee you it was one of those, our anonymous source told us, and then they won't tell you who told them that information, because that seems really weird. I mean, Trump doing that in his first term is with just money was what got him impeached. So I don't think.
I've got the article he's talking about. It is a Reuters article. Let me blow that up on the screen for you guys so we can take a look at it. What did I do? Oh, I zoomed in way too much, allegedly. Zoom out. There we go. All right. Roughly a week after Donald Trump started his second term as president, U.S. military issued an order to 3 freight airliners operating out of Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, a U.S. base, in Qatar to stop what? Oh, so 3 aircraft from Dover that were flying out of Qatar to stop 11 flights loaded with artillery shells and weaponry bound for Ukraine. In a matter of hours, frantic questions reached Washington from Ukrainians in Kiev and from officials in Poland, where shipments were coordinated, who ordered the U.S. Transportation Command, known as Transcom, to halt the flights. It was a permanent pause on all aid or just some. I have not seen this.
Okay.
Top national security officials in the White House, the Pentagon, and the State Department couldn't provide answers. Within 1 week, flights were back in the air. So it was a 1 week pause, it looks like, and they don't know where it came from. Interesting. The verbal order originated from the office of Hegseth, according to Transcom records reviewed by Reuters. So they're saying that they've actually seen the orders from Transcom saying that Hegseth's office is the one that in fact did it. That is a big deal. That's not saying an anonymous source. That's quite literally saying, hey, we've seen it, and Hegseth is the one that did it.
Or that somebody from his office did it.
Yeah, it's like it came from his office. I don't think he personally made a phone call, or like it was obviously through his staff or whatever.
Well, right.
But it was interesting because they weren't able to track it right away. That's why it took a week to figure out who made the decision. And after I read this, I started looking at that, like some of the videos from interviews, because you know how Trump has interviews daily back then. And when people were asking him about the aid to Ukraine, he wasn't saying, oh, I didn't do that, or, oh, yeah, we stopped it. He was like saying, oh, they always just want more and more and more. Like he was just going along with it because it didn't look like he knew exactly what was going on for the first day or two after the aid was stopped.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's freaking odd.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, that's weird. And so yeah, if the president were to come out and tell the military to stop moving planes, that, chain of command, it would go to the Department of Defense, and then the message would come down that way.
If it was a verbal order from Trump, then Hegseth would be the one that would sit down. Right. But now it's kind of like seeming like it's one of those things where some people could come back and be like, like the Spider-Man meme, like, wasn't me.
It was you.
Yeah, but whatever caused it, it started. It's going now, so I don't care.
Yeah, and I think they're going to get an influx of a hell of a lot more. You know how I said that every time people end up coming into the freaking White House, they end up getting their freaking intel dumps and briefs and everything else, and they want to sit there. It kind of makes me wonder if, Trump didn't initially have some phone calls with Zelensky, and they didn't like that very much. And so they were like, okay, well, screw you. We'll just pause the aid. And then ended up halting flights. And they could have done it in a number of different ways. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'd be very curious to read those documents personally. And also kind of curious how Reuters got a hold of them.
Trying to mess with that rare earth deal and trying to just screw the Trump-Zelensky negotiation power.
Yeah.
Could be.
There was people that ended up getting fired within the administration. So it kind of makes me wonder as well if it wasn't a bullshit order and they took a while to figure out where it came from.
So I have
because the big thing about this. Go ahead.
We keep saying that it's Russian supplied stuff that is countering or the issue the Houthis and Iran have. But is there maybe a chance that China's supplying electronic warfare stuff over there to test it the way we're supplying stuff to Ukraine, and they're using it as a test bed for their counter munitions or counter jamming munitions?
It's not a question. It's 100%.
The electronic warfare attacks recently on the infrastructure here in the U.S. I was like, maybe the two are connected.
Look, the most technologically advanced piece of equipment the Russians can make is a fucking toaster. So
that's why I was like,
without Chinese chips, you know what I mean?
I don't think Russia's really in a place to be supplying updated stuff when they can't even supply it to their.
I think my opinion on this is very simple. That China has learned
of the Russian
China has learned something. They want to be the charity for data. They will give all these smaller countries, all the bad side of countries, stuff then they can have all the data from that, how it's used, what do they need to change? Because China doesn't have experience alone. They copy something else from somebody, and then they give it to people like Russia, Iran, and in the Congo and everywhere else they can make a deal to put that technology there, and then they have all the data of what they need to fix and what they need to change and what they need to do. Again, China's been doing that for years. So if we're gonna say that can you find Chinese technology in EW systems in Yemen and in other places around the red side of the aisle?
Of course,
100%.
100%. I want you guys to see this video that I'm throwing up on the screen right over here. This is reportedly coming out of the Afghan-Iran border. Can confirm those are Afghans. But they, like my training and experience leads me to believe that those are in fact Afghans. But look at this. I don't know what the hell happened over there, but if these are inbound going into Iran, that would be my question. And are we now doing sabotage for incoming supplies, maybe from the Taliban to the IRGC? You know, it was rumored last year that the Taliban had pledged, like, I think it was like 100,000 fighters or 10,000, I forget what it is, to the IRGC for them to infill to go in and fight alongside, like in the West Bank or with Hezbollah or some crap like that, when all of that crap was going down after Israel ended up hitting the consulate building out in Damascus. Kind of makes me wonder whether or not that if the Taliban is actually providing material support to IRGC and that you now have cells that are taking those out. That was the thought that came to my mind when I saw this video.
Did you already cover the power plant strike?
Which power plant strike?
Israeli airstrike on a power plant in Sanaa.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I just sent you a video. That thing is cooking.
Yeah, there's a there's a really good video out there of that freaking thing just roasting. Yep. What do you guys think? Do you think that this crap is about to go down over inside of Iran? Have you guys changed your minds on it?
No, I haven't changed my mind. I think it's coming.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that there's a lot of writing on the wall. I think that Israel can't really do anything inside Gaza until it's taken care of. So we'll see what ends up happening. You guys got anything like kind of cool, exciting coming up that you're aware of, other than waiting for the 9th to see if the red square turns into the pink mist square?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see it.
I mean, it's not necessarily current, but there's the Chinese floating cities just moved off of the coast of South America to basically cut off fishing for a lot of South American countries that can't really defend their navy.
What?
Yeah, they're off of Argentina and are like completely like fishing it completely dry, not leaving any for reproduction or anything. Like, it's 120 something ships, and they're using jammers, and that's why I was thinking maybe Yemen was using Chinese jammers. They're armed with only rifles and water cannons, but I mean 120 ships with National Guard, quote unquote, whatever the Chinese calls them. That's more than a lot of South American navies can actually fight against. And unless they're a U.S. ally, it's technically international waters.
What?
And they're mislabeling the fish as they bring it in, so that way they can get away with it on the international market.
Damn, where's Greenpeace? They're gonna have to start boycotting fish.
They're busy like running around staring, seeing what Greta Thunberg's doing.
Planting explosives on their own boats, you know, making dramatic videos about drones that didn't hit their ships.
I want every single one of them.
Idiots.
Like, I want that sucker to get freaking charged. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to go search the boat, get the freaking facts, because they can scrub and they can figure out what type of explosives were set off on that boat.
Oh yeah, they can.
Definitely looks like an impact, no? From the few photos I've seen, it looks like it was something top down and just came smacking into it.
You think it was a drone strike? I think it was a
I don't
place
know.
charge.
It'd have to be like inside or on top of it.
I think weren't they at a port? They were at a port, right?
No, they were not.
They weren't.
No, they were underway.
In open. Okay, so there was. I mean, all of us in here know how difficult targeting something that distance is. Now, targeting something that moves makes it even harder. Targeting something that moves that clean makes it very hard. I would almost have to think if it's a drone, it has to be something it can't be something like the Iranian Shaheeds or something like that. They work with a pre-programmed coordinates. It can't be something like that. It has to be something more like piloted or munitions dropped on it. I think if it was hit, I think that might have been just like a Reaper dropped something on it, or
no,
no.
Because the Reaper. Go ahead, Nate.
You think they self-sabotaged?
Yeah. I was going to say anything a Reaper would drop would do a lot more damage, and it would hit the bridge. It would hit something, structurally important. So, like you said, hitting a moving target, something either has to be piloted by a human or have enough artificial intelligence in it to be able to, identify a ship and then target it on the move.
Yeah.
And then where it got hit in pretty much the two safest places you could be. There was like a little tiny hole that looked like in fiberglass. It looked like a fiberglass shield right in front of the bridge cameras that are facing the bow. And then another one up on the bow. So the forecastle is essentially.
What was the name of the ship? I'm trying to find it. I want to look at the photos while we look at it.
I'll put the photos up on the screen for you. I'm pretty sure I still have them. It went under the Freedom Flotilla. So let me grab those real quick. It's so stupid. It's.
Yeah, they blew up over the forecastle, which is in normal English, it's called the forecastle, which is the bow of the ship, the front compartment of the ship. And usually that is like a dry storage area of the boat, because in case you run into things, you don't want to have like fuel or anything volatile in there. So that just usually ends up being like if you were going to hit a ship and you wanted to damage it, that's the worst place to hit it, in the front. Right. You'd hit the engine, you'd hit something down near the water line, you'd hit the bridge, you'd hit the communication stuff like that.
Now I'm seeing this photo.
Matt's probably way more an explosive expert than me, but that almost looks like thermite-esque melting.
No, I'm looking at a different photo, and it has the actual bow on it, and you can see the fragments like going on the wall of the bow.
Well,
I've never seen this photo.
That's not fragments. That's from a fire. That's not fragments.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like a super hot fire.
So you have
something with fuel on it, not necessarily like a remote control RC drone.
Seeing it from this view, I think it is a charge.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It
probably
charge.
Is something shaped. Yeah, something shaped.
I don't think it's a shaped charge, and I'll tell you why I don't think it's a shaped charge. Here's why it's not a shaped charge. Because you look at correct, and you see the amount of rolling that's taking place in the metal over here. But in addition to that, you look at the support beams that are going up underneath it, which looks almost like T-iron, or they're not even I-beams. I don't even know what to call it. Just little shit iron, T-iron. But you can even see how that's bent and rolled in this photograph here. How it's not like properly up. So if it was, a shape charge, if it was a Hellfire, if it was an actual drone that was carrying an actual munition, number one, you would see different type of damage. You wouldn't see the steel rolled to that degree, but you also wouldn't see those I-beams or those T-beams kind of rolled in the way in which they are.
I 100% agree with you now after seeing this video. So apparently there's a CCTV footage video looking out there, but they haven't released the video of the actual impact.
Correct.
All they show is this.
That was my major complaint, was that if you've got that freaking, that deck cam footage, why don't you release the footage of the drone striking the ship? And they haven't released it yet, likely because it would show them placing charges. And so the way I look at this,
I don't even think it was that I don't think like there's a fire here before the explosion, so you can see the people are reacting first like calmly, and then they start running away.
No, this is
So
not.
like
This is not a shape charge for those in the comments section. This is not the damage you would end up getting from a shape charge. And even in this one, and here's, you know what? Here's something even more interesting that I didn't even notice. Do you guys see this top hole right up over here? This top hole that's up at the top? This one? If you look down at the bottom of the hole, what it actually appears to be is the deck itself. Do you see that? It is a perfectly round cut chunk of the deck itself that has been pushed straight down and through. That's not a drone strike.
Someone in the YouTube comments was saying it looks like it was high heat, low force explosive.
Correct. So it's a low grade explosive that you end up having come through. So you have a detonation and then you have a deflagration. Deflagration is anything detonating like lesser than that of TNT. The quicker it goes, the better it gets, right? So when you're looking at this one, when it's detonating like that, it's pushing things like dynamite. Most people are familiar with ammonium nitrate charges, things like that. Black powder, right? Gunpowder.
black powder. That's what I was thinking.
All of that falls in that category, and that would also account for why there would be a fire and things of that nature. But the key to this, when I look at this, is one, the rolled metal, because essentially your low grade explosives, like we just described, those end up creating a pushing force, right? They create like more of a pushing force. Oklahoma City, right? Like the reason he used ammonium nitrate, number one, because of the abundance of it, but number two, because it ends up freaking knocking everything down. That's why when you see these like the deep buried charges and stuff like that from Afghanistan and Iraq, it ends up throwing the vehicles kind of into the air because it's this big pushing force and they're using these massive ammonium nitrate charges. And so that chunk of the deck being pushed straight down and through in conjunction with the rolled steel tells me that that was not a high grade explosive. Your higher explosives, C4, data sheet, freaking whatever, right? As we start going through all of these, like generally speaking, your plastic explosives, even TNT, right, is going to create more of a cut than a push like that. And so you would have some rolled steel, right, like towards the end, but mostly you'd end up seeing just straight up sharp freaking cuts going down through it, and you don't see it. And you sure as shit wouldn't see a giant chunk of it that looks like it was pushed right in the center, straight down and through the deck. That's the problem that I have with this. And when you go back and you look at this other one, you see kind of similar things. They claim that this was a drone strike, but it's not. This we see like a perfect freaking like cut in the freaking deck. So that doesn't even make sense with fire hoses going through it. That to me looks like damage that they had just cut out the ship to deal with a fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think what's the chances that they were hauling a couple of crates of like black powder or gunpowder or something similar, and it caught fire, and then they're like, oh wait, we have to come up with a story of what just happened here, and then they're like, oh, we got hit. Pretty low
because you can tell the direction of the blast based on the rolling of the steel. If it had caught fire and detonated underneath, number one, it would be a contained...
No, I'm talking about it was on the deck. It looks like it starts on the deck. There's something starts smoking 100%. And then they just...
It was on the deck, correct. And that's why I say it's a place charge. Danny Goland coming in saying, Matt just sent you a DM on Twitter with a Google Earth project I made of all of the fires and earthquakes. Ooh, thank you, Danny. Holy crap. I'm assuming these ones are of over inside of Iran. Heck yeah, Danny.
Danny's a hero.
Danny is a damn hero.
Matt, also, I did post, I don't know how to use Discord. I'm still learning, but I went live with a picture of shape charges on, it looks like an M113, 2 hits. Yeah. So you can see the difference between that deck and what a shape charge looks like when it hits metal.
Where'd you post it?
That has actual shrapnel. No.
It's
so
like
he's sharing his screen, so you can't see it because you're sharing this screen. What I'll do
I'm
is
not sharing my screen
it.
anymore, so I'm looking right at Nate now. So Nate, go ahead, show it.
It's it's like another viewer in the chat. So essentially, you can let me figure out what to do.
Change the view. Yeah.
Oh shit! Hang on, I got rid of it. Hang on. There we go. Live.
Yeah, you had it right.
There you go. So if you look at like the people on the panel, it looks like on my screen, it looks like it's in the panel. There you go.
Bingo. Bingo.
And then you can see that peripheral. So when a shape charge creates a big jet of like copper, it's not perfect, right? Like there is one centralized jet, but then there is also like little peripheral jets of shit that fly off and fly towards. So 100% of that force is flying towards that metal. So you'll see one like clean cut hole, and then it's almost always you have that like star pattern of gouges around it. And then that's armored. That's armor, right?
Yeah,
so you imagine what it would do to like thin ship steel. It'd slice right through it.
So what you're looking at right there is actually damage from the EFP, not a shape charge. That would be damage from an EFP that ended up hitting it. If they said shape charge, I would disagree with it just because of the molten steel that you see that's flying out into the sides in that pattern.
I don't know. I mean, Google said it was a shape charge, but
yeah, I'm going with EFP on that one.
It's an RPG hit on that.
So
and technically that's a shape charge. So we're both right.
No, you're not. So no. So
RPG is not
hold on. No. So RPG is a shape charge, not an EFP. A lot of people like to think that that little copper, lining that they end up putting in there, they put that in there because it's cheap, it's easily moldable, and you can end up putting it in there. But the moment the explosive actually goes off and it touches that copper is completely and totally disintegrated. What you're actually counting on in an RPG is the force of the inward force of all the freaking explosives, like creating this compressed air, and it's this really hot air jet that ends up punching a hole straight through. Your shape charges, or your EFPs, your explosively formed projectiles, are something completely and totally different. You're talking about a massive copper slug, and I'm not going to get into the ratios, but it's a shitload. It's a massive copper slug with an appropriate amount of explosives that's detonated behind it that end up turning that into a molten jet that ends up shooting out. So your EFP versus your shape charge are two different things. Thank you, Nate, for pulling this up. So here in this example, you can see an EFP that Nate's putting up on the screen. It might be easier for me to actually do that for you guys.
Yeah, I'm still learning this shit. So sorry.
It's okay. You've got an expert here. I got you.
Yeah, when the stream is done, Nate, if you have a couple of minutes, I'll give you a Discord lesson.
Yeah, I need one.
I'll give you some roles on here.
All right, so this is more or less, this is what an EFP will end up doing. It's going to be really hard for you guys to end up seeing. So I'm going to zoom in on it for you. So this is what your EFP ends up doing. You have the explosive that ends up coming over, and you see how it's almost like that concave shape that's bent kind of like in a circle, like that circular-ish half moon type pattern. And that explosive goes off behind it, and it pushes that copper slug forward, and it slams in. That is just like a molten hot slug that will melt its way through all of that crap, which is why in that image you showed, you got that spiral pattern coming off of it, right, as it comes out, because it's that molten copper that's slapping into that sucker. When we start talking about a shape charge, it's completely and totally different thing. So shape charge operates differently. Shape charge operates off of something completely and totally different. And here we go. Let me get this graphic up on the screen because this ends up showing I like this graphic. Yeah, why not? I guess I got to accept them. All right, so shape charge ends up working. Picture this as the inside of an RPG. So RPG would have that cone that comes off the nose of it. That's in order to create the standoff distance. And it's got a tiny little freaking button on the front that actually contains a piezoelectric crystal, the same thing that when you click your lighter, it creates that electric current. So when it smashes it, it ends up sending an electric current all the way back over here to the detonator, okay, that's rear center primed in the rear of this thing. And what ends up happening is that explosive wave starts to propagate forward down here. And the reason you have this cone shape in the middle is because it ends up, obviously it stops, but it's going to continue. Let me get my finger on the screen. It's going to continue to push down as it goes, right? So your waves are propagating down, but you also have this explosive that's going around the side. So it's also pushing and compressing the one that's going down as shown here, which creates a very, very hot jet, which is what you were talking about, Nate, that ends up blasting through it. So there's your RPGs and things of that nature. So there's a very distinct difference. Most of the time when you see your like ATGMs and things like that, they contain shape charges because your EFPs would be very, very heavy. Like they're very, very heavy. It'd be very hard to flight control, everything else. The key about these, when you end up like denoting your shape charges, is the cone standoff on them. So if we were to take an RPG cutaway, you'd be able to see it like quite clearly. Let me back out on this. It's funny the amount of people that argue with me on this.
Yeah, you can screw the nose cone off of RPGs. I've done it.
Yeah, we screwed them off and add the. I showed Matt some photos a while ago of what we did. We had these. The machine shop made these rings with breakaway points, and we added breakaway points between the cone and the booster, and then the booster to that, and then it just added a lot more fragmentation to the RPG warheads.
Right. So here you see the RPG cutaway, and you can see the explosive charge. It's all the way over here in the rear. All right. So all of this is the explosive, and then all of this is your standoff that goes into it. Sure, idea, you want a little bit of copper that's coming out, but it's not what ends up happening. All of this crap ends up going, and what you're really getting out of this is all structural integrity shit. What you're really getting out of this is you're getting that hot jet that's blasting all the way out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even the 40 millimeter grenades, like the HEDP 40 millimeter grenades, got little miniature shape charges in them. And then what's weird with those is because they're spinning, they actually have little cuts in the shape charge to counteract the spin that's imparted on the round while it's flying. Mm-hmm. So it's like this weird little segmented shape charge. The shape charges are pretty cool, and the way they work is just pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not cool when they're shooting at you, but they're
cool.
Well,
and if you want to have like an honest discussion about some of this as well, I mean, there's some other cool stuff that actually goes into it as well. Let me see if I can get it. They also make them in what's called bomblets for freaking... what do you call them? The cluster
DPICM
bombs.
Cluster munitions. Yeah.
Yep, for the cluster munitions. So the little tiny ones. I'm looking to see if I can find them.
Tip must be pointy. Round is not scary.
Yeah, if it's not scary enough, like those things are freaking, like a bunch of these little shits falling from the sky is like the crazy part. Here you go. And these are inert versions. So they end up just like falling straight up out of the sky. And that's it. They got little parachutes on them, if I remember right, and the little parachutes end up deploying, and then they just fall down, and they're little shape charges, and they end up blasting holes through just about everything. M77 DPICM. You were close, Nate. Did you say that?
Call them like
I said DPICM. It stands for dual purpose improved conventional munition.
Yeah.
So when it says dual purpose, it's because it'll kill people and equipment. And then it's conventional, and that's an improved version. Like honestly, those are worse to have being shot at you than traditional artillery. That's terrifying.
Well, and they've got
and then on
anything clusters.
Excuse me, I said parachutes. They're streamers that come out the back, right, to stabilize them in flight.
Yeah,
streamers.
Yeah. It just keeps the heavy end facing down. That's all you need. But yeah, those things are those little bastard. Fuck that, dude. I'm sorry. Excuse my language, but after last night's video, I think I'm doing okay.
No, you're doing okay. Like we're doing really good today, guys. I'm really proud of us. I don't think I have to pull this video down. I'm super proud of where we're at today. I mean, super proud.
I missed something. What did I miss last night?
I went on a tirade last night in a video that I ended up having to pull down.
Wait, which one? On the rich? On the angry cop video?
No, it wasn't that. It was during the live stream. Somebody asked me how to become a U.S. politician, and like my closing thoughts after a very long tirade of the trolls, because I went off about a lot. I went off about females inside of the military and how people want equal rights, but in all reality, they're just going to get people killed. And then, dude, I went to frickin' town. Yeah, and then when it came the very last question, somebody asked me, how do you become a U.S. politician? And I said it's really quite simple. All you have to do is marry your brother, suck his eggplant, and suck the eggplant of the Muslim Brotherhood, which should be very easy. Which should be very easy for you. Which should be very easy for you because you grew up sucking the eggplant of your father. And yeah.
Listen, I don't know if there's something wrong. I don't know if there's something wrong with people that have been in the military, but when I see other people angry, it brings me joy. Right. So the madder Matt got, the more I was laughing watching it. And it's a good thing I wasn't in the. And if it's a good thing I wasn't in the live chat, because I'd be like, what is this world coming to that you're going to take that shit lying down, man? I can't believe this. You know, I'd have been twisting that whatever dagger was in his back that got him riled up last night. I would have been trying to make it worse.
Here's what it is.
Wait, it was on
hold
Discord.
on. This is what did it. Yeah, I dropped it in the Discord, so you guys can go watch it. I dropped it in the Discord. But this is what did it. Have you guys seen this clip yet?
Yeah.
I would say our country should be more fearful
I probably shouldn't say. It's muted for
of white man. Say our country should be more fearful of white man across our country because they
I mean, I don't want to hear her anyway. She's an idiot.
She said that our country should be more fearful of the white man.
Yeah.
The white
man. The white man that came and drug her out of her third world hellhole of a country that she was in and brought her to this place so she could.
The white man. I'm not.
I mean, as a Native American, I get it, but also, who is she to be screaming that? Because it's not like she's from a people that were genocided by said quote white man.
Not from your point of view, maybe. You got given your people got given freaking like land. You know, her land has just been taken away.
Like at the beginning when they were giving like smallpox blankets on purpose and stuff like that. Well, like there was a period in the beginning when it was kind of messed up.
It was very messed up to be giving out smallpox blankets. I 1000% agree, and you're 1000% correct to throw the term genocide out there. Like that's 100% what the United States did.
But you don't see the natives running around screaming, "Oh, fear the white man, hate the white man, we are owed reparations," like certain other people. Quote.
Well, maybe that's what we need to do: is just give the frickin' Muslims a bunch of casinos.
No. Give them J-dams. Sorry.
Saudi Arabia owns most of the casinos anyway.
I'm sorry, what?
The UAE owns most of the casinos. That's why, like, the big MMA fights and everything are moving from Vegas to the UAE and Dubai.
They own the
casinos. That's not why.
They own a lot of them, yeah. It's like 30% of the strip now is owned by UAE and Dubai dignitaries and stuff and investors.
Yeah, wow. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
It's Riyadh. They've been doing it. It's like they've been building up this like action, like where they want to have different events come there, and like it basically brings business for them, and that's why they host all these big like fights that people say will never happen, and then they throw like to Tyson Fury, like, hey, we'll give you $40 million. You want to fight him? Oh, for $40 million, I'll fight him. And for them, it's a drop in the bucket. So like they've done like some stuff like that. But yeah, they have been putting a lot of money. But you know what? I'd rather have Saudi money, clean Saudi money coming into doing business than Chinese money.
I mean, they're trying to be good allies. If you look, Dubai was basically set up and built under the same concept that Las Vegas originally sprung up from. You make a really good trade center that happens to be an entertainment center, and people will come.
Yeah. You know, the Saudis particularly are making a concerted effort to kind of diversify, so where their only source of income is not oil because it's fickle and the market goes up and down, and they want to be doing things other than that. And like part of the thing with China is like, you know, when you look at like Taiwan, and we have pretty much all of the world's chips made in Taiwan. If China gets a hold of Taiwan, that's a problem for us because the chips that we have in our weapon systems and the things that are secure would be owned by the CCP, which is a bad thing. The answer to China is not to like, you know, bring 100% of Chinese manufacturing back to the United States. We can't do it, right? We can't, our population doesn't want to do it. But all you got to do is spread it out in other places, and you spread it out all over the world so you don't have so much of of things you need consolidated in one place.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem, right? Like, I don't care if 5% of the 5 or 10% of the chips are made in China and China starts acting screwy. It's like, well, the other 90% made elsewhere can increase their production, and we'll get them from there. I think that's
trying to bring UAE in on the F-47, whatever that new fighter we're about to start working on. We're partnering with them on it to try to help them modernize and stand up a better Air Force, because I think we're trying to help grow allies in that region.
Well, yeah, that's the reason for weapon sales is if you get somebody's military and they've spent, billions and billions of dollars on their military, and it's dependent upon us, and we're kind of dependent on them as, sort of suppliers. Now we all are beholden to each other to work together. And then there's a few groups outside of that, which would be like Russia, Iran, and China. And those long-term deals are to kind of bring people into the fold and make them be friendly with each other, to where our systems are kind of integrated and we rely on each other. That's why the isolationism shit doesn't work. So when you see people, particularly on the right, and they're like, oh, we should just, completely close our doors off and stop talking to people and never interact with anybody outside the United States, it's kind of suicide. Eventually, those partnerships will be made overseas. And if we're the outsiders, then we'll be the ones with an F-47 like aircraft showing up on our doorstep. Now, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but eventually it will happen.
Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. We're approaching 10:30. I want to appreciate you guys for coming in today. So thank you all over in the Discord for pitching in today. And yeah, Nate, I'll give you your talk in a little bit. In Texas, we'll talk here in a little bit as well.
Yeah, Nate, if you have some time, I can give you a quick Discord lesson.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a couple minutes, I'll run you through a couple of options. And also, I think, Matt, since I have you here and Nate here, I think if Nate's going to be here more often, maybe we can bring him up to the moderator team as well.
That's not a bad idea.
Then he can have access on this side of things.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, if you have a couple minutes, I can run you through some stuff. And
yeah, if you want, I have my own, like, kind of my own servers too, so I don't know how you want to do it. Just stay in here, or you can send me a DM and I'll connect with you.
Yeah. Okay. However you guys want to do it. Love you guys.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys for joining me for another show of the Speak the Truth podcast. Peace, love, happiness, God bless. I'll see you here in a little bit. If you guys see me go live at any point in time today, it is because Israel is up to no good and the United States is helping them out.